All right, good morning, Keller Eames. Thank you for joining us today. As you can see on your screen, we're going to be talking to Laura Rode of Sarasota Gulf Coast Realtors. She's got a lot of great information to share with us. So kind of same format as we've been using. We'll go through a bunch of questions with Laura, and then we'll open it up, and you guys can start having some conversation. I'm sure Laura and the rest of you have some great information to share with each other in addition to the stuff I was going to talk to her about. So let me get going here. So good morning, Laura. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being our guest today.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
So you had sent me some information, and we've talked a little bit over the last few days. So first, let me ask you a little bit about, one of the things you told me is that you've always had standards on your team, expectations for, what agents need to do in order to have a certain level of success. But in the last, several weeks, you've kind of plus that, ramped that up a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing there?
Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we have mandatory lead gen 3 days a week for 2 hours, and we do a 30-minute script call before that lead gen. And this is new prospecting calls. It's not database touch. It's just new prospecting calls. And then in addition to that, we're doing 4 hours a week of database care calls, which is where we are only calling our database with either a personalized phone call or a personalized video, just asking them how they are, how their family's doing, and what can we do for them at this time. Just really nurturing those relationships. Those calls are not meant to be salesy. Um, and we're finding that that is actually working better than the cold calls right now. Even though we have changed our scripts for the cold calls to I hate calling them cold calls, but we have changed our script just this week in how we are approaching those calls when we make them. We're starting the call off with, hey, this is who we are. We're a local team in the area. We just wanted to call and let you know that this is what our team is currently offering to the community in regards to educational videos that we've been putting out on our Facebook. And that is actually helping people become more willing to talk to us and open up to us. And then from there, we shift it to, well, since I have you on the phone, tell me a little bit about, is there anything that I can do to help you with your real estate needs at this time? Have you thought about considering buying or selling? Would you like to be added to our email list? But coming in from of approach of, this is what we're offering. We want to offer it to you for free. Here's our social media account. Follow us there. If you can't follow us there, here's the link to what we'll be sharing on our website. And we're finding that to be very beneficial.
So you had mentioned that, during a lot of the calls that you're making, the clients are bringing up concerns around what's happening with, coronavirus, all that sort of stuff. What are you guys telling them about real estate to maybe put them at ease? If you have listings or buyers out there, or just people you're doing those care calls with, what's the message you're giving them?
So the message that I'm giving them is the honest message of what I'm seeing in my business. And honestly, that's no change. We are not seeing change in how many contracts we're writing. We're not seeing change in how many listings we're taking. We're basically telling them that at this point, we're not seeing a change, and sellers who list their house right now, they have the comps 90 days back to still get the best price for their home. Now, if they wait to list and they wait for the inventory to rise, like a lot of other people will, then they're going to be ones chasing the market down when sellers who are in fear keep taking lower offers. So that's how I'm getting people to have a conversation with me right now about listing. And those who are buying, and this is kind of where the real salesy life comes in, which I'm kind of hesitant about, but it is true that we're starting to balance out into a buyer and a seller market is what I'm starting to see. So that's the conversation I'm having with the sellers. And then at the same time, I'm going to the buyers that I have and I'm saying, hey, listen, some of the sellers that are on the market right now, they're in fear. So we're seeing them give better deals. So if you want a better deal right now, our suggestion would be, let's put your offer in on where you think it could go and try to get you that deal. And we wrote 4 offers yesterday, and all 4 of them are probably going to get accepted today. And all 4 of them are a little bit lower than, where they had originally started last month. So these were people that we had contacted and the houses were still on the market. And we said, hey, we know your offer didn't get accepted, but times are a little bit different right now. Do you want to try again? And they all did. And boom, it was a total different mindset. So we're seeing kind of both sides, but obviously when I'm calling sellers, I'm not telling the sellers that, fearful sellers are giving away their houses. I'm saying right now we still have the comps to get you the very best, and you need an educated real estate agent who knows that, who isn't going to tell you to give away your house right now when you absolutely don't have to, but at the same time you don't want to wait for a price reduction and chase the market down. You have to be
Right.
very strategic with the conversations that you're having and really watch the market every single day to know what's going on.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we learned from Shift is you need to price ahead of that curve, right? So as the market maybe does have a little bit of a decrease, just like Laura said, you don't want to be in a position where you're doing price reductions behind where the market is pricing homes. You need to be ahead of that to maximize what you're going to get from the sale of your home. You may even in a competitive buyer's market, if you're pricing aggressively, you know, you're still setting yourself up to probably get above list price. If you're following the market, then that's just really not going to happen. So it's very
Correct.
important to be strategic. Joe, could you share, Charlie told me a little bit about the offer that you had put in with a client in the last day or two, where it was a similar situation. Could you share that real quick?
Sure. So we got a call from a buyer who wanted to see just one unit at Lakewood National, and we were all protective, and we had all our Lysol sprays and our hand sanitizers, and I gave her the details of what Florida Realtors wanted us to do to look at properties, and so we did it, and I said everything else can be done electronically. So she called me back and she goes, I want to make an offer on the house. It was listed at 267.9, and she wanted it furnished, turnkey furnished, because the people lived in Canada and they wouldn't have to come back down. One, because they can't come down. 30-day closing cash, and she made what I thought was kind of a ridiculous offer, of course, and they came back and pretty much said, okay. And she ended up getting for $235 turnkey furnished, a condo over in Lakewood National.
So, and guys, what I really want you to, thank you so much for sharing, Joe. What I really want you guys to take away from that story, and then what Laura was saying, is we're not looking to, we're looking to create win-wins for here. So those folks who had that home, who live in Canada, were probably in a position where they needed to get rid of that house, right? They're probably paying hundreds of dollars a month in HOA fees. They're paying for, all kinds of additional things. They can't even come into the country right now to enjoy their home. They're not sure when they're going to be able to be, and they're probably looking to liquidate that asset. So to them, they were probably over the moon to get that offer in the market that is right now. Plus, Joe was able to secure a great deal for his buyer. So I keep saying that we're all about connecting people, right? We connected a seller with a great need to a buyer that was able to get a great deal, and everybody wins, right? We created a win-win. So don't be afraid to get out there, have those conversations, put in those offers, because people still want to do business. Thank you, Joe. So Laura, let's shift back to you. Can you tell me a little bit about? You told me that your team was creating like digital marketing materials, video marketing materials, in order to kind of service people virtually, and that's been working really well for you, right?
Yeah, so what we started to do is every week we're sharing some type of educational video that we're blasting out to the community. This week it's going to be on homeschooling. So a lot of our agents have different degrees, and we're now going to start utilizing those degrees and making these videos on serving the community. So like Stephanie, for example, is a former teacher. She holds a master's degree. So today she's going to share, ideas about how to keep your kids engaged, what tools she used, different charts to keep them active, hands-on baking lesson. I mean, it's just something that we're trying to really meet people where they are now and come from a place of contribution so that they basically will follow us. We're giving information on what we're seeing happen in the market with visuals that we've been sending out on social media and to our database, and we're getting a great response from that. Most of the contracts that we're writing are coming from either our care calls or people in the community who are kind of seeing that we're reaching out and care for them, and then, turning that into a contract. And most of them actually 3 of them have been through a virtual buying process, 3 buyers through a virtual process, and then 2 listings through a virtual process. So as soon as this hit, we set out marketing for our virtual home buyer and seller options, and it has just been a really big hit. I have another virtual listing appointment on Saturday.
Can you
So
tell us what that looks like a little bit? Just share
sure.
a couple of
Yeah.
details.
So basically, I have the conversation with them on the phone, and at that point, after I get them to agree to an appointment, I ask them questions. I kind of take them through a listing questionnaire. What updates have they made in their house? Ages of their appliances, ages of their roof. And I just ask them a whole bunch of questions. How would you rate your home between 1 and 10? What would make it a 10 if it wasn't a 10? And then I take that and the information from the MLS, and I create a comparative market analysis. So what I do when I sit down with them on a virtual appointment is I just share my screen right on Zoom, pull up the comparative market analysis. I go through that, and we go through what the listing docs look like, and then they sign everything electronically. Now, before I get on that Zoom call, we have our marketing director Bria send them an email. It's an interactive listing email where you can click on different things that we offer when we list a home, and it will actually bring up a video and talk about it. So it will bring them to our 3D tours. What do those look like? Our cinema tours, what do those look like? What does the photography process look like? What do the brochures actually look like? So clickable things that they can pull up, read, move around, and watch, so that, it's kind of like a really good something they have that they can click on, and it's just a good way versus me just pulling it up and having them look at something on a screen, so they can click around on their own. And honestly, this is probably something that I will continue doing in my business, as things get better. I mean, even during travel, I mean, it's working great. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you could take after things kind of normalize and get back to normal. There, how often do we say, well, my buyer or my seller's out of town, so I can't really meet with them till they get. Well, yes, you can. You can do a virtual process like that. They may still want to wait till they get into town to sign paperwork, but you could do these types of meetings and appointments and really get them locked into your value propositions, while they're in Canada or Ohio or New York or wherever they might be, because that's a big part of our business, right? So I think we're all going to learn things during this process that will become just part of how we do business moving forward. So keep an eye out for those little nuggets as you guys start to get flexible and agile around how you're conducting yourselves in your business, because some of that stuff, like Laura said, can just continue to be part of your model going forward. And what about your virtual buyer process? What's that look like?
The virtual buyer process is something that we've been doing since we've started doing business, because that's really how we sold homes all winter long to people up north. So what that is we have a conversation on the phone of what they're looking for. We set them up on a search. They favorite the ones they like. We go out, we take an HD video of that property. We send that to them. And then we put in an offer for them. And then the inspector goes out, does the inspection, sends them a report. They sign all their documents electronically, and then the keys are mailed to them, and they can come down anytime they want. So that's not something new that we've been doing, but it is something new that we've started advertising now that it's a bigger need for a lot of people.
Right. And you said in the last week or so, you've taken 2 listings over video conference, and you have another one today?
I've taken 2 listings over video conference. I have one on Saturday. We had one other agent put a listing up. Since all this happened, we've had another agent put a listing up. We've had one of our other agents get an executed offer, and then Matt has 2 executed already and 4 more pending right now, about to be executed today. So business is definitely still happening. I think it's really important to check your mindset. Be safe, take precaution, but at the same time, like, business is there. Go and get it. Don't be afraid to go and get it, because everybody else will get it when you're not.
Right. Yeah, this is not the time to scale back, wait and see, wait this out, any of that stuff, right? This is not the time for that, guys. This is when you double down, like Laura said. Her team already had a high level of accountability around, following up on leads, lead generation, touching the database, all that sort of stuff, and she doubled down on that. So this is the time for you to take market share and service more of your clients at a high level, when other people are just kind of saying, well, I need to wait this out and then we'll get back to normal. Well, here's the thing. Will things normalize? Yes, but they're not going to know what the new normal is when it happens, because, like Laura said, there are going to be things and strategies that we put in place in our businesses, if we're being proactive, that will be part of the new normal. The agents that are waiting it out, they're going to be behind the 8 ball on that stuff. So this is the time to get engaged and get really good at those skills and learn some of these new skills. So I love that.
So something that I read in the Shift book that really stuck with me, it said something about how the market's going to stall a little bit right now. And if we as agents stall with that, when it picks back up, if we're not ready to pick back up as fast as that does, everybody else is going to get the business and you're going to have that lag. So what we're trying to do right now is make sure that we're not developing a lag because we are all working from home. So we created a time block schedule that everybody is supposed to follow. We meet each other on Zoom 3 days a week, and we still have, and this is something really important that I think every agent should be doing in their business, is tracking your numbers. Not only get very detailed with how many calls you're making, how many of those calls are turning into conversations, how many conversations are turning into appointments, how many appointments are you actually going on, how many listings are you actually taking. There's two sides. So that's your new lead gen. And then you have the marketing-based leads that how many leads are you answering? How many buyers are you getting out in the field or taking videos for? How many contracts are you writing? How many of those that you're writing are getting accepted? And how many, are actually closing? And being able to track that down every single piece will help you know exactly what you have to do in that following month or that following week to fill the gap. So every week we have gap coaching calls with our team where we look at, okay, what's the standard for the team? It hasn't changed. So what's the standard? What's the actual? How many contracts are you actually going to hit for this month versus what the standard is? And what's the gap? And then when we identify that gap, we identify a plan and certain steps to hit that plan. To make sure that we can execute that plan. So really, every agent knows exactly how many calls they have to make in order to meet the standard for the team, because they're not changing. The standards are not changing. The only thing that's changing is the amount of activity that the agent themselves is going to have to put in order to meet those standards. So, I mean, that coaching and looking at your numbers hardcore is probably one of the best ways to keep yourself on track and know exactly how many calls you do have to make so you're just not shooting in the air.
Yeah, and I think it creates some accountability for yourself as well. And I want to pause right there and just touch on a couple things. So Laura has this great team that her and Matt are operating, and I know many of the agents that are on their team are super grateful for everything they do to pour into them. They've told me that. I want the agents on the call who are maybe not on a team or individual agents to understand that all the things Laura's talking about, you have access to as well. It may not be from Laura, but we have a mentor program in the Market Center. We have a director of career development, Maureen, who's been a real estate coach and trainer for, well, longer than a lot of us have been in real estate, right? You've got me and Jamie that are here to have conversations with you around your GPS or help you build a GPS or a business plan to get to ramp up your activities like Laura's talking about. And we could have, monthly or weekly, accountability sessions or coaching sessions around those things. So you guys need to leverage the Market Center for some of these things. If you feel like that, well, I'm not on a team. That's great for Molly or Melissa or Thomas because they're on Laura's team. I'm not on a team. What do I do? You need to reach out to the Market Center. You've got Greg, Joanne, myself, Maureen, Jamie, Lauren. All of us are here to be your team, right? Not just now, but year round. I think a lot of people don't understand the value of having that level of accountability and support. And that's why we're here, is to offer that to you guys. So please reach out to us if you're looking for
it. Also, in Bradenton, you have Joshua and Nick.
Same with the Bradenton agents that are on the call with the staff up there. You have a great support system and mechanism in place. You have to choose to engage with it, but it's there if you want it.
And I'm happy to send the call tracker that we use out to anybody who wants to shoot me an email. I will send that to you. And if you commit to filling that out for 30 days, you'll know exactly, even if you did it for 2 weeks, you'll know exactly where you need to be to hit your goals. And if there are people who are committed to doing that, I'd be happy to set up a Zoom session with them and kind of teach them how to track their numbers and how to evaluate where there is a lag, whether it's in activity, whether it's in the skill of negotiating or just the skill of getting somebody able to pull the trigger. So I will send the tracker if you shoot me your email, and if from there, if you want to schedule a Zoom session on how that actually works, I'd be happy.
Should we do this, Laura? Just because I think we'll get some interest around that. Can you send the tracker to me?
Yep.
And then I'll have Lauren touch base with you, and we'll just schedule a Zoom webinar that you can deliver to the market centers, and we will make sure that they have that material if they want to be on the webinar ahead of time. And then you can just maybe do a, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minute, whatever it is, webinar that people can jump on and see kind of what you're talking about and how it works.
Yeah, so I've already started creating video manuals. That's what I've been doing in my quarantine. I've been creating video manual trainings for everything that I teach all my agents on my team. So I've already actually have something like that. So what I can do is I could just send you the video and you can share it. And if people want to watch it and learn it, they can.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk about the webinar thing too, because I think a lot of people would like the ability to have a live connection too.
Okay.
Because I know you don't have enough going on and you'd love one more thing on your plate. So I appreciate that. So you did kind of mention one thing that I want to circle back to, and that was around time blocking and having structure, particularly now, versus before. It was always important, but you told me a little bit about how you're helping your team with that, how you're imposing that on yourself. So just share why that's important and what you're doing.
So I will admit, when this first happened, I think there's a level of shock that everybody goes into, and they kind of run into a hole and they're like, oh my God, what is happening? And, it's at that point that you need to make a decision whether you want to survive or whether you want to thrive. And there's a difference. Do you want to survive, or do you want to thrive through what's happening and come out on the other side? So, I made a decision that obviously I want to thrive. I want my agents to thrive. So we put this time blocker in place, which, I mean, we've always had a schedule, but I created it so I can send it out to them on a PDF so that they can print it and look at it at their computer every day. And basically it just shows when they're going to make calls. They have empty slots on there to put in when they're going to work out, when they're going to spend time with their family, when they're going to take their dog to the dog park. So there's empty spots on there. Whether they're going to use it at home or not, I don't know, but the tools are there for them to use so that they can hold themselves accountable to waking up and staying in their routine. Because when the market does balance out and people are ready to go back out and buy houses, if you're not caught up with that and you're not still doing that and your mindset has that lag in it, you're going to be behind. And we're going to have too many buyers out in the field out in the market at that point, and you're not going to be able to get them because you're going to be working on getting your shit back together. Getting your life back together.
Getting your shift back together.
Getting your shift back together, and just getting ready to get back out in the market. So, and they say that for people who are suffering from anxiety and stuff like this, sticking to a routine will actually reduce that anxiety. So sticking to knowing the facts and sticking to the routine, will definitely help you create some peace and create some normalcy back in your at-home work life. So I actually look at this as a blessing for me because I get to be home with my family. I'm working from home. I have set time where I'm out here doing this. Matt's playing with our son, or if our nanny's there, then Matt's out here on calls with me. And it's important to have that schedule written and posted in front of you so that you know every day what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're not doing it, that's something that you need to think about and work on your mindset, because you should be doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a message in the chat there. Jody Johnson, you said you had a question or something you wanted to add, so you can unmute yourself and chime in anytime you want.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
So this is unrelated to time blocking. However, we up north have plenty of closings going on during this time. So with the families that are driving in, for instance, they're driving into this brand new neighborhood, they're unfamiliar with the town, and they got their U-Haul truck, and they're just imagine themselves like pulling into their driveway, and they look around and they got all their like neighbors peering through the blinds, right? So what we've done differently is we've actually called at least about 15 houses, depending on how large that neighborhood is. And we're gathering all the neighbors' phone numbers and emails that we can share to our clients so they don't feel alone when they're moving into their new home. Now, Massachusetts is a lot more intense than Florida at the moment. So like people are very sheltering in place, and we just don't want our buyers to feel alone. So that's completely different that we've changed.
So you're giving them a call list of, here's a call list of all your new neighbors and a little bit about them, so they can start to, instead of going over to borrow a cup of sugar, they can just pick up the phone and say hi.
Yeah, exactly. And they have 3 young kids. So if, they had an emergency or they needed help from neighbors. So what that does is it allows us to open that conversation up to all the other houses around them.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, most everybody is shocked, oh, wow, you're taking the time to do that for your clients. And then after that, we're going to send, our regular postcard about sold property. So then during the phone call, I don't even give my information to them, unless of course they ask for it, which during these times they really don't. But they'll have my information the minute they get my postcard, and they'll put the 2 and 2 together, just because it's that town, my name's pretty familiar anyway. But it's a great way to just build a connection with 10 to 15 people.
Yeah,
that you wouldn't
even
normally
more,
do.
you're connecting those people together. So like, we talk about, we always connect people. So you're giving your clients the ability to connect with people, rather than, okay, now I got to move in and sit here for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And yeah, we're not really there in Florida yet, but who knows, certain areas may get there. And that's a great little tip and strategy. I love that.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for doing this. You're awesome. So my question is this: when you do a virtual listing appointment, do you ask your seller to FaceTime so you can look at the home? Does he take you from room to room? Because they can rate their home 8 and it could be really a 3.
Yeah, I asked them to send me pictures. I asked them to send me pictures, or if they're able to carry their laptop around, I asked them to do that. The last one I did sent me little video shots of every room. I mean, I'm going to have to go at some point for photography and video, but really that's the only time that we have to really get in there. And, it's limited. I don't have to stand in there the entire time with the photographer. Right now, the photographers don't even want anybody accompanying them. They just kind of really want to go in themselves, get it done and go. But, we want to make sure that we get our 3D tours. So we do have to go at that point to get that tour. But other than that, yeah. And we're putting hand sanitizer if they want it. If they don't have any, we're putting, sorry, there's a spider. They're putting shoe covers if they want it. I mean, we have a big box in the office. So yeah, I mean, we're just doing what we can, but I feel that people are really liking the virtual option and not having to deal with someone coming into their home and sitting there and not being able to get them out if they want them out. And it's almost easier to get this virtual appointment than it is to get an actual in-house call. And then once I have the appointment, I'm ready to get them, and I can pull them in. So like I said, as this goes on, I'm going to continue these because I really enjoy them.
So guys, let's continue with the questions. We've got a minute or 2 left. This is your chance. You hear all the awesome things Laura's doing, and obviously it's working. They're taking listings, they're writing contracts as much as anybody in the marketplace right now. So this is your chance to get your questions answered. Speak up.
Laura, I just had actually kind of a technical question. When you're doing virtual showings, your buyers that are, say, out of state or maybe locally, and they just don't want to go in the home for safety reasons or whatever.
Yep.
Are you mainly just using FaceTime? Because I found that I can't use FaceTime with everyone, that if they don't have an iPhone, they're not able to FaceTime. So do you then pull up Zoom, or how have you been?
No. So the best system that we have put in place for our business, that I really feel if you can afford it, and I don't even know how much it is, honestly, I don't think it's that much, but BombBomb. You can take full high definition videos using BombBomb from your phone and send them out. You can take those BombBomb videos and send them in text messages. You can send them in emails, and it's just a really great way to get yourself in front of your clients on video without having a scheduled session.
Yeah.
So BombBomb.
And they can be as long as you want, because I've also found that, like, you know, with little videos I take on my phone, I can only send like a minute or minute and a half videos, and then I gotta start over again, you know? So with BombBomb, you're saying you could literally do it 5-10 minutes and it wouldn't be an issue?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, my husband does most of the buyer side. I mean, Molly, can you touch on that? The BombBomb video? Can you do it as long as? I mean, are you able to use that as long as?
Yeah, there's no time limit on that one. The only problem I've ever run into is when you don't have good cell phone service.
Mm-hmm.
App crashes and you cannot take your video. But 99.9% of the time it works great. Because yeah, when you do it straight from your phone, it cuts you off after like a minute or so, and then you have to try to cut the video and do all this funky stuff. But BombBomb takes really good quality videos too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other solutions too that are free. You can, you could do FaceTime video chat with someone, and that gives you the ability to say, hey, I'm going to request you as a friend on Facebook so we can do video conference. Now they're a friend on Facebook. You could use WhatsApp. There's all kinds of different platforms out there for doing it. That if you didn't want to pay for a service, you can do stuff like that too. Because FaceTime's only going to work for iPhone users, but or not Facebook, FaceTime. So Facebook, WhatsApp, all that sort of stuff, that's going to work across different platforms.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Laura, or even for Molly or Melissa or anyone else from their team? Because they're all kind of doing all this stuff that Laura's talking about too.
If I can add something into that, the video.
Yeah.
Okay. I just use my smartphone. I've got an Android, and then I upload the link to YouTube and send them a link privately for the video tour. And that's been working great for us. And I can do 10-minute videos easily. And sometimes I'll do, 2 of them if I need to divide them up. But that seems to work with unlimited amount of time.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate that. So guys, if anybody else has a question, this is your last chance. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap us up. So speak now or hold your peace till tomorrow morning at 8:30.
You guys, my team up north, we use WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp's a great program, and it works on all different phones and carriers.
And we do the video listing appointments on a regular basis. And that way I can actually always go back to, so say I'm submitting all the information into MLS about their house and I forgot if there was carpet or hardwood or tile or what they had in the bathroom, you can always go back to those videos and put them in as well.
Awesome, thank you. And then last question, Erica, you have your hand raised, so you get the last question and then I'll wrap us up.
Just something I want everyone. They're running.
You cut out there.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. What I was saying, the company that we use for photography, they're running a special for Matterport. It's $150. It's a flat rate. So they're offering a 50% discount regardless of the square footage.
Wow, that's actually really, really helpful for virtual open houses. That's awesome. What company is that?
What's the name of the company?
CMS. I'll forward you the details, Karen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
guys. So again, thank you so much to Laura and to her team and to everybody that participated on the call today. Tomorrow, we've got a very special call. We're going to have our regional director, Georgia Alpazar, is going to be on the call with us. So Georgia runs the North Florida region for Keller Williams. She's our direct link to Gary Keller and Josh team and the KW staff. And she's got a lot of awesome information to share with us. She's also a MAPS coach, master faculty trainer. So she wears a lot of hats with our company. She's been around a long time and she's been through this type of shift situation more than one occasion. So I encourage you all to tune in. She'll have a lot of great things to share with us and you'll be able to, ask her whatever questions you want. Like I said, she's talking to Gary and Josh and the whole team at KW every single day. So you're not going to get a better chance unless I can get Gary Keller on one of these calls to ask those questions. So we'll see you all tomorrow at 8:30 and have a great day. Have a safe day.
And guys, don't forget what's going on at 11:30.
Yeah, we have a wealth building session that's going to be done over online, also through Zoom. All the information for that is on the Facebook page, so you can click there to get the link and join us for that call also. Have a great day. Bye.
Guys, thanks.